Hello, it's Wednesday. Again, as if it happens every week. And I'm Rob, and I've been painting things. That was an awkward intro, wasn't it? Okay. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen some of this stuff, but some of the other stuff you won't have seen. So let's start with this chap. So, focus. There we go. This is a okayishly painted Karic Acolyte. 100% brush painting. I'm not 100% comfortable with 100% brush painting. I kind of stopped at doing the golden metallics parts on this model because I got bored. And I actually painted most of this guy lying on the sofa. Literally lying down on the sofa. Because I have done another nerve thing. So anyone that sits at a desk for a long period of time will know about sciatica. It's the nerve. Sciatic nerve is the big nerve goes down your leg from your spine. And if you spend a long time working at a desk and you aren't particularly active, which I'm not, I'm working on it, then it has a tendency to sometimes get trapped or something can press on it, and it can cause a very, very, very large amount of pain, and it can take a couple of weeks to subside usually, and that's what's happened to me. Mostly because I'd spent about 2 weeks-ish working at my computer on the last update of my video game, and I was pushing myself in a ridiculous way and wasn't really taking breaks properly, wasn't walking around enough. And normally I take 4 days to work on my video game, 3 days to do painting stuff and just generally hang about. But this time I'd worked for I think it was about 13 days straight at the computer. Sleeping, obviously, taking some breaks, but yeah, it's a lot longer stretch of working at PC than I usually do. And my desk chair isn't great. It's quite old now. Need a new one. And yeah, screwed my sciatic nerve up. So I've basically been only able to do things that involve either lying down or standing up. So this guy was painted lying down on the sofa. So not a bad job for lying down. It's a bit of a weird angle to try and paint at. And he is basically just the test model. He's not going to be the on-camera version. I'm quite happy with the transition on the old shield there. That's just wet blended. But he's not done too badly, but somehow ended up with some black paint up the middle of his chest there. Not sure how that happened. So yeah, not great. But let me get the colours. And that's the most important thing actually for this guy was... I'm probably not going to play with Eyes of the Nine, so I'm not really that bothered about the warband looking great as a whole. But let me get the colour scheme down, and I pretty much know exactly what I'm going to be doing for painting this lady on camera, who I haven't started yet. But I did manage to get her arm off with the shield so I can get behind it. That was really important. If you're building these, and you haven't glued them together yet, don't glue that arm on. It will be a pain in the butt in order to be able to get behind here. Even just to base coat these bits, but also painting the back of the shield. And it's a Games Workshop classic back of a shield. They never seem to pay any attention to actually what goes on the back of a shield. Which is that the front of the shield is nice. It's got all this trim on it, big gemstone, lovely. Some little teeth or something, trophies, good. Around the side, okay, I guess the metal trim goes around the side, and the back is just flat. It's just perfectly smooth and flat. There's even a big thing for the peg on this model. There's an arm there, there's some straps on it that they must expect you to paint, but no one who's actually glued this together will be able to paint those. And the metal trim that starts lovely on the front just kind of ends there, so you've either got to make a decision to just only paint the edge metal and then paint the back of this black or something, but painting it wood would require painting wood grain on there, and historically most shields are made out of wood reinforced with metal, rather than just being 100% pure metal. So, yeah, Games Workshop do this on a lot of their fantasy shields, and it annoys me every single time. The only time I can think of that they didn't do it was on the Sepulchral Guard. The skeletons actually had wood grain, like planking on the backs of their shields, which was dead handy, and again, the metal trim stopped at some point, like, clearly, so yeah. A mildly annoying thing, which I've decided to rant about for some reason on my YouTube channel. But what else have I been doing? There's been some other models. I knocked out a quick test scheme for Hallowed Knights, because I fancied doing it and I wanted to mess around with some metallic paints. This guy was painted standing up. Couldn't really do much standing up because most of my lighting doesn't go up that high, but you know, it's got a wobbly head. This is an evocator, so Hallowed Knights. It's just rough colour scheme test. I wanted to see if I could get something okay-ish looking. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of the colour scheme. I think it's a bit too many bright colours in one place. I think this should be darker. This whole cape should be like this colour, but then glazed on top of black. And the white cloth, don't know, don't really like it. I like the metallics though. That was basically just, where are they? Yeah, metal colour exhaust manifold, which is a lovely dark kind of slightly yellowish burnt looking metallic. It's very close to lead belcher in terms of brightness, and metal colour silver. I want to get some more of these. These are really nice. They metallize really, really well, and you'll see in a moment what I mean by that. But they do a few coats of this, and it almost looks like a mirror finish. And that's what's going on here. That was just, you know, exhaust manifold airbrushed and then highlighted with some silver, and then washed liberally with a random mix of this, which is not yellow. This is just Vallejo blue ink, just watered down, and some Army Painter dark tone. I think it's like 3 drops of this and 2 drops of this. Oh no, it's 4 drops of dark tone to 2 drops of this watered down blue ink. This is very close to Guilliman blue in terms of consistency. And that was just splashed all over the metal, and it gave it a nice kind of blue steel look. Dead quick. I wasn't in any mood to actually like paint something particularly intricately when I did this guy, because I was in like a lot of pain and just really grumpy having to stand up to paint. But I wanted to do something because I was bored of lying around on the sofa, feeling sorry for myself. So yeah, did that. Don't know what to do with it, to be honest. So, you know, there's that. That's what I did. Random test models. And I got a start on my Sister of Battle. So you may have seen this on Instagram, with the rest of the model kind of precariously blue tacked into place. So this is one leg, one greave. I did this as a test, so this wasn't on camera, but I was testing the colour scheme to see if I was going crazy or not, and I wasn't, which I'm glad to say. It needs a matte coat in order because it's still got reflections coming from real life, and I've painted reflections onto it, so it looks good from 3 angles. This angle here on the front, this angle here, which is like directly down the side, and therefore you also can't see any of that side from this side, and from behind, where again you can only see that side and you can't see that side at the same time. So that's what I've done, and I've painted in some reflections. There's also some actual real life reflections still on there, which is why this needs a matte coat. I'm not sure if I really like it or not. It's a different style for me. It's a lot of work. People on Instagram like it, but personally I'm not a big fan. I like the red, but I don't like painting the reflections, so go figure. Also, if I paint the reflections, I'm kind of like locked into painting the reflections onto everything else on the model, and frankly, that seems like a massive hassle, and I don't really want to do it. So, not sure. This piece may get stripped and just painted red with an edge highlight. Because, as I've said many times, edge highlights are not necessarily edge highlights, just where the edges have worn down to a lighter colour. This, I've managed to paint sitting down. It was the first thing I painted sitting down. Dead chuffed with that. So there we go. That's what I've been up to mostly. Yesterday I was messing about with some orc stuff, because there's nothing more cathartic than painting orc stuff. Unless you do what I did and try to really up your game on your metallics. Which isn't really visible here, but this is, again, these two paints, mostly airbrushed and then washed a bit. But you can see what I mean by it's metallizing. Which way's up? That's up. So you can see how shiny this is. Very, very shiny. And I tried to give it a bit of a greasy look, but it's actually come out still a bit too clean for what I want. Mostly just going to get a bunch of washes in there. So that's the Shock Jump Mega Dragster guy's engine, kind of just messed about with. And the body of it is currently being stripped because I messed it up massively. Here is the spoiler, which I did exhaust manifold on over black primer, and then I sprayed some silver over the top of it to give it a zenithal highlight to brighten it up, and then I tried to paint scratches on it, but the silver was so bright that it just nuked everything and you can't see them. So I need to knock that back a lot, but I'm basically just going to paint over this and reprime it and do it a completely different way, I think. And that's going to be true for almost all of this vehicle. So some of it I've had to strip, but that's mostly because I found massive, massive gaps, and like here, like that's a big old gap that needs to be filled or sanded or something. Down there as well. I mean, that's not so bad if that's on the underneath, because it's that way up. So you're probably not going to notice that. But along here, you're going to notice this, especially if you put a metallic on it. And you're going to notice this, and you're definitely going to notice this split here. And it's not going to look, oh, it's orky and weathered and it looks like damage. No, it looks like you've put a model kit together and haven't filled a gap. There's a big difference between what looks like battle damage and what just looks like a gap in a kit, and that just looks like a gap in a kit. I've managed to smooth this down, and I know that it's worked because I've done it once already, but I got a big fingerprint on it, and you can see the thing. I've been using, I sprayed it with this stuff, the old liquid chrome, and you can see the effect it's had on my blue tack and my cork. So this, it works really, really well, and it looks really, really good for just like a little spot piece in the middle of the engine. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it on this kit though, but instead use that technique on the booster blaster, which has got more of a hot rod type look to it. But I have managed to sand this completely smooth along these joins here, which are in really noticeable places, so I'm happy with that at least. And I messed around with some other techniques for weathering, so this is again exhaust manifold, which then got highlighted with silver and then knocked back with just absolutely tons of washes. It was kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest, way of painting this. As you can see, it's still very reflective. This is the seat. You know, grot goes here, orc bum goes here, so could mess about with it as much as I want. Again, this is going to get stripped, and I'm going to do it in a different way that I think is going to be faster and give a better result, but definitely faster. So yeah, and the rest of it is basically just, you know, metallized. You know, the spinny, spiky, cutty discs. Yeah, can leave them. They're fine. The back with the old flux capacitor in it. I'm just going to paint over that again because it just looks kind of butts. Same with this. I think I can up the rust amount a lot more on this vehicle than I originally thought. I was kind of scared of doing it. The wheels are kind of fine. So which way is up? That's up, I think. Yep, that's the bottom. So again, exhaust manifold sprayed in there and over all of these spikes. And then I just did silver on the bottom half of this hubcap, so it's catching the light a bit, and across the tops of the spikes. And then I just kind of rammed some typhus corrosion right in around the old nut there and wiped it off the surfaces, and I'm going to give it a couple more washes and a little bit of some little bit of rust, not a lot, on the basis that maybe this is a material that doesn't rust that much, but it does accumulate grease and dirt significantly. And I've got some ideas about painting the rubber wear on this using some sponges and a whole bunch of very, very fine lines in order to create a texture on there. And I'm going to have to do that for all 4 wheels, which will be interesting. So that's what I've been up to. Painting orky stuff. My leg's getting a lot better, so you don't have to worry about me. I'm up and about and being able to stand up and sit down a lot more easily today than I was before. I'm actually sitting down and making this video right now, and it's not a big deal. The only thing I can't really do is like sit and work at the computer for long periods of time, which is what I want to do, but I can't. I also can't really sit and paint for long periods of time. You know, stop and start a lot, or having to do it standing up, or just doing a bunch of dry brushing, or messing about with washes, which is why I decided to tackle this orc vehicle. So getting old, that's my problem. Getting old and staying fat. So the 2 problems. Don't get old, don't get fat. If you nail those 2, you're sorted. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. I hope you've been having a better week than me, and that you weren't plagued by large amounts of pain. It's been nice weather in the UK. One of the good things about having sciatica and being the only things that I can do is either stand up or lie down, is that I went for lots of walks outside and had picnics and such, and it was a very nice time, actually, just kind of getting out of the house for a bit. So yeah, that was fun. I had a good weekend, and yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna continue plodding on with this. I'm not gonna make a video on it unless I manage to figure out what it is I'm actually doing, in which case I'll probably transplant the techniques over to the other vehicle, the custom booster blaster, and then do a video on that one. So consider this to be a test. Keep an eye on my Instagram, links in the description for that, or my Facebook page if anyone actually uses Facebook anymore, where I will be posting the results of my experimentations, and also progress on the old Sister of Battle, who I'm going to be doing the rest of on camera. So I've done this one leg as a test, and I might strip it back and do it again because I think I can do it better when I'm not in pain, for example. But yeah, I'm going to be doing the rest of this model on camera. In fact, I am going to strip this leg back and do it again at the same time as the rest of the model, because I think then I will actually be more consistent. So there you go. I'll also be posting videos on Patreon. Well, not videos, but tutorials on Patreon on how I do this. So the next time I do this, I'll do a step-by-step photo guide for Patreon for the $10 tier, and you'll be getting some in-depth Sister of Battle painting. This is Order of the Bloody Rose, for those that are interested. And yeah, so that'll be coming up soon. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to get this lady done by this time next week for Patreon. But it's mostly kind of leg pain permitting, and a little bit time permitting, but mostly leg pain permitting, to be honest, at the moment. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Give us an old subscribe and a like and so on if you're new, and I'll see you around. Bye bye.